So for part 5, where we got up to was we finished working the contrast for the elephant's feet, and we set up to come along the second row of the chart. So I have finished working on the blue row, I've turned my work, and I've come back along, and I think I have the right number of pairs. Now, the other really cool thing about reading the chart and reading the knitting that we touched on a little bit last row, everywhere where we made a colour change, if you remember, we get this little double stitch, so 2 stitches sitting right next to each other that are the same. So a really handy tip with that is that now that we're on the row above, if you can see down here on this second row working this way, the elephant's foot, actually the contrast starts 2 stitches sooner on this row, I beg your pardon, 2 pairs of stitches sooner than on the row beneath. So what we can just do is check back to the knitting, and actually if I was to work that now, I would only be 1 ahead of the change. So in actual fact I have 1 too many here, so I need to just go back and unpick that last pair. Now you see there, I've got myself in a mess. Don't panic if you get into a mess, because there is literally nothing you can do that can't be undone. That's that blue one undone, and the yellow one that I had knitted. And now I am 2 pairs ahead of the change point. Okay, so I'm going to go again on this row. My background colour is my A. So up until now I have been knitting colour A, my yellow, and I've been purling all the blue to match my pairs up. So now that I'm hitting the contrast, I want 3 pairs that are contrast colour knitted. So I'm going to go knit with the blue. Again, that technique never ever changes. 2 yarns to the front, purl, 2 yarns to the back. Second pair, knitting the blue, bringing that forward, purling the yellow, taking them away again, and a third pair. Okay, that's my 3. I'm going back to where I had my double to check. I have in fact got 1, 2, 3 blues, and if you want to be doubly safe, 1, 2, 3 yellows. So that's my 3 stitches here, just before the elephant's toenail, and we're going to reverse it again back to background colour just for this next 1 pair. So background to knit, contrast to purl, and so we've done 3 on his back foot, we've done his toenail. We want 2 more colour reversed stitches to finish that back foot. So we're going to go for, again, we want the double, so we're going to go and knit with the contrast, purl with the background, and we're going to do that again. So that's 2 pair now, back to that double. I have 1 blue, 2 blue, and I've finished the action. So here I've done 3, 1 and 2, and that's beginning to give me the elephant's back foot. It's still a little difficult to see at this point, but from here on out, as we grow, you'll be able to see the design more and more and more. So we're going to go for this this space here between his back leg and his front foot. So we want 3 stitches that are the same as the background. So again, we're going back to knitting with the background stitch, 2 in front, purling with the contrast. That's 1 pair, 2 pairs, 3 pairs. Oops. and that can happen. So, you know, this isn't necessarily in front of the TV knitting, but it's still fun, and the sense of accomplishment is incredible. So that's our 3 pairs, again double checking, back to the double. 1 yellow, 2 yellow, 3 yellows, and each has a buddy. So we're good. We've come across this break between his 2 feet. Now we know from where we work this row beneath, we can see that these stitches on this row of his foot are exactly the same as the row beneath. So we had 10. So we're going to go ahead and again, we're going to reverse for 10. So we're going to knit this time with the contrast, making that double, but we always get at the beginning of a colour chunk, and bring them in front, curl its buddy. That's 1 pair. We're going to go again, 2 pair, again 3 pairs, and you know, if you find that your work is going tight, just manipulate it along, and that will help you overall to maintain a fairly natural tension. The tension is quite important for this project. Basically, if you're not seeing your design because everything's pulling very tight, or if you are getting a lot of pain, particularly right here in the back of your wrist, it could very well be that you're pulling too tight. And the best thing you can do is just try and leave really, really loose. If you're one of these that tends to pull between stitches, maybe try and get out of that habit, and that will help you to loosen off. And if you're finding that it's too loose and it's bagging, then what you can do is every time you move your yarns, just give a little tug, just to bring everything together a little bit more. So again, that's 6. And you can really begin to see now as we're moving, when you bring those yarns across the middle each time, you can start to see them trapping in the middle, and that's what's giving us the bulk of the fabric. And it's given us this really kind of polished, whole look to the design overall. I've lost count again, so I'm going back to my double. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I just need 2 more pairs. 9 and 10. And then looking back here again, so I have nothing else on this row now. On the next row I will have the other front foot to think about, but just for here I'm clear to the end of the row. So you can, if we look now and we compare what we've just done, you can start to see, here is his front foot, that equates with this here, and then there's a gap, just like here, and we're just starting to see the back of his foot here, just where it's resting, where he's sitting in the grass, just starting to come through. So I will go ahead and do a couple more rows, and then come back to you with some tips for getting you through the rest of the chapter.